Hello, our project is the Suez Canal blockage. We are the peak performers, Molly Cox, Ryan Danker, Jack Grissamore, Alyssa Lanson, and Alan Lee.
Hi, I'm Ryan. So the first thing is, what is the Suez Canal? The Suez Canal is a waterway that was built in like the 1930s to bypass the Cape of Good Hope and make water transport throughout the world much more faster and efficient. So it runs from the Gulf of Suez and the Red Sea to the Mediterranean Sea in the north. It's about 120 miles long, and it has a mixture of one and two channels. It starts as one channel in the south. When it gets to the middle, it expands into two just to help with shipping lanes and getting more ships through. And then it condenses back down to one when it gets to the more northern points. There's also, as you can see in the map, like a drainage canal so they can maintain water levels and make sure the canal is always being safe. About 12% of the world's trade flow through the Suez Canal at some point in its process, which makes it one of the biggest shipping routes in the world. The Ever Given is a cargo ship that is almost 400 meters long, and it's one which makes it one of the world's largest cargo ships in service. It weighs over 200,000 tons and has a capacity of about 20,000 containers if it's maximum loaded. It's operated by the Evergreen Marine Corporation, and it's been in service ever since 2018. The engine has a top speed of 26.2 miles an hour when it's running, and in its history, the Ever Given has been involved in two accidents. One was in 2019, where it hit a ferry boat in a harbor, and the other accident was in 2021 when it ran aground in the Suez Canal. So the Suez Canal was blocked from March 23rd to March 29th, 2021, when the Ever Given ship got wedged in sideways in the canal. This was due to high winds and a sandstorm in the official report that was filed. To get the Ever Given free, they had to bring in a bunch of heavy digging equipment, a lot of tugboats, and the Egyptian government had to fund it and bring it all in and help the ship get free. This kind of made the Egyptian government mad, so they requested that the Evergreen Marine give them $900 million for reparation to pay off the people that came and helped get the ship free and just for loss of traffic. This ended up getting dropped down to $600 million in later months. The problems that were created by this blockage were supply chains getting backed up, and they still haven't recovered. And there's also delays in shipments that happened because of it.
Hello, I'm Jack. So now let's talk about how this problem has affected shipping. The blockage had held up more than 300 vessels for over 6 days, creating so many problems for companies and countries around the world. The congestion of cargo ships put a damper on the global economy. This had held up about 15 to 17 billion US dollars due to the blockage of the canal, as well as many other cargo ships and companies had to take alternative routes, which ended up taking longer to get to the destinations. This created shipping companies and it made them have risks traveling around Africa and the Cape of Good Hope, which took about 8.5 days longer, which adds on to the time and the cost that companies have to pay to take alternative routes.
Hi, I'm Molly, and I'll be talking about the effects on manufacturing. The blockage of the canal caused many problems in manufacturing. Goods were not able to be delivered on time, which caused a shortage, which then led to a halt for factories to assemble their products. A UK company said it had 20 containers of goods stranded on the Ever Given. Logistics experts say that some of the more immediate effects of the Suez Canal blockage could be felt in higher gas prices and extended shipping delays for consumer products, including furniture, clothing, electronics, heavy machinery, and more. The long-term effect of the blockage could cause firms to pay 3 times as much to get their goods delivered because they would have to switch to air freight. This impact in the manufacturing process impacts all of the elements of the supply chain.
Hi, my name is Alyssa, and I'm going to be talking about the resolution to this problem. The blockage of the Suez Canal held up more than 300 vessels for 6 days, creating problems for many companies and countries. Due to this blockage, cargo ships companies had to take alternative routes that would take much longer in order to get to their destinations. One alternative included traveling around Africa and the Cape of Good Hope, which would take about 8.5 days longer. The other resolution to this blockage would require some companies to switch over to sending goods by air freight. On the downside of this alternative, though, this would cause 3 times as much money compared to Suez Canal Channel. Finally, after 6 days and 6 nights, the Ever Given was pulled from the banks of the canal with the help of 14 tugboats and several dredges to dig around the vessel's bow. This blockage was finally resolved, finally dislodging the ship while pushing the Ever Given at high tide. Although the ship was finally free, in the end, this blockage had made a lot of companies upset. They were upset because of all the money they had lost. This caused companies to pursue lawsuits and compensation against Evergreen Marine Corporation.
Hello, my name is Alan, and today I'll be talking about how this relates to the class and and the insights we can leverage. So, how does the Suez Canal really relate to this class in operations management? Well, the first topic I want to discuss is just-in-time inventory. Just-in-time inventory refers to receiving goods when it is demanded by the seller. Just-in-time inventory is getting more and more important as global trade has increased. A Forbes article stated that even a small blockage can cause headaches and disruptions down the line. For example, computer chips, which are used in many different technological parts. When computer chips were stuck in transit in the Suez Canal, they weren't able to be part of the manufacturing process, which is causing waste in the supply chain. And the work in progress inventory, which is another thing we covered in class, increased as half-produced products were waiting for parts stuck in transit in the Suez Canal. And as the work in progress inventory increased, the holding costs for these products increased as well. And another topic we focused on was the bottleneck of a process. And when an activity couldn't be completed because parts were stuck in the Suez Canal, the bottleneck of the activity, which by definition has limited capacity, backed up production behind it. So how can we take what we've learned in operations management and apply it to the Suez Canal blockage? First, instead of relying on one supplier to ship different parts, producers should purchase from multiple suppliers. By purchasing from multiple suppliers, there are more resources to the purchaser. Instead of making one order that will get stuck in the Suez Canal and halting all production, as described in the previous slide, purchasers can receive their parts from different modes of transportation. When maritime shipping is halted, manufacturers can still receive their parts by air freight, and this reduces the chance that they must completely halt production because of canal blockage. And as we know, a lot of manufacturers have waste in their process, and it is inevitable. The question is how we reduce this waste to maximize production. One way that we can do that is by using a pull system, where production only occurs where there is demand, instead of operating at a push system, where they make all that they can just in case. By doing this, manufacturers only produce when there is demand. Therefore, this reduces the chance of them having to halt production because of something like the Suez Canal blockage. And finally, these are the sources that we use to complete our project. Thank you.